A toy boat mysteriously appears in a swimming pool one night in 1992. Rebecca wakes up because of the weird noise and sees the toy when she peeks out the window. She runs to inform her brother, who is very sick, that she has found his boat, but he doesn't wake up, so she promises to get it for him. Rebecca walks to the backyard and gets the skimmer net to try to get the toy out of the bottom of the pool. She can't grab it no matter how hard she tries, and each time she tries, she gets closer to the edge. An unstoppable force suddenly pulls her into the water. As she fights to swim, she sees her mother outside the pool crying her name. Rebecca swims back to the surface fast, but she doesn't see anyone. Rebecca feels afraid when the lights start to flicker, so she swims to the edge to leave. But the toy comes back, so she decides to swim back to get it. Something snatches her leg and pulls her down as soon as she touches the boat. A voice that sounds strange whispers Temagami before Rebecca comes back up, thrashing around and crying for aid. She is pulled down again, and this time only her slipper comes back up. The Waller family is currently seeking for a new home. Ray sits in the car by himself for a bit and listens to the baseball news on the radio. He used to play sports, but he had to stop when he found out he had multiple sclerosis. Ray's head starts to hurt, but he doesn't pay attention to it when his kids call. He takes his cane and goes inside with his family. Realtor Kay gives them a tour, but they don't like it, so they decide to leave. Ray sees that Rebecca's house is for sale on his way home. They call Kay, and she shows them this house as well, telling them that it has only had one owner in the last few decades. Ray's wife, Eve, likes that the house is close to the school where she teaches, and Ray likes the pool in the backyard, even though Eve is afraid of swimming. Ray sees a baseball while looking at the pool and attempts to get back, but he slips and falls into the water. His body gets stuck in the plants and the blankets, and he can't breathe. He imagines playing baseball again once he gets better. This gives him the energy he needs to swim and leave the pool. Later, Ray goes to the doctor for a checkup, and she tells him he should do things that are easier than playing sports with his kids, like yoga or swimming. The couple agrees to buy the house with the pool on their way out. The family is moving into their new home soon, and the kids will go to the same school where Eve works. Izzy is scared on her first day, but she makes friends with Ronan, a popular guy who offers her to join his swim club. The family cleans the pool together on the weekends. Ray sticks his hand in the drain to clear it, but he screams when something cuts his palm. He quickly pulls his hand out and sees that it is bleeding a lot. When they observe brown water gushing out of the drain very quickly, the family has to leave. Later, they call a pool maintenance person who tells them that the water is flowing from a spring deep beneath. It has natural filtration and geothermal heating, and people say that the water from these spring pools is beneficial for your skin. In fact, there used to be a lot of health spas and wellness centers in this area. The family finally jumps into the pool when it's ready to have fun. Eve throws coins into the water, and the kids race to see who can find the right one. Ray undertakes his customary workouts and sees that the water helps his muscles relax. Eve looks over the bills at night and gets furious since Ray's doctors cost a lot. She decides to go for a swim to calm down. The family cat Cider meows at her in a way that shows she doesn't like it and then runs away. Eve is swimming when Ray suddenly appears near the edge of the pool, but when she looks again, he's gone. Eve decides to leave when the lights start to flicker. The lights work normally again as soon as she gets out of the pool. Eve checks on the kids and then goes to bed with Ray. She asks him whether he went outside, but he says no. She says that they should obtain a cover for the pool and look at the lights tomorrow. Cider is still on the diving board, and the lights are flickering again. The boat toy shows up on the water at that moment, and Cider growls at it. Elliot finds Cider's collar in the pool the next morning, but the cat is nowhere to be seen. Ray takes off the collar because it gets damp and his bandage becomes wet. To his surprise, the wound had already healed. The family ultimately puts a cover over the pool that afternoon. Eve dreams that she is in the pool with a weird shadow at night, and the intensity of the dream wakes her up. She sees that Ray isn't in bed with her and glances out the window to see him swimming very hard. When Ray goes back to the doctor for his next appointment, the doctor runs the standard tests and is shocked to find that his health has gotten much better. Ray informs her that he swims twice a day and calls it water therapy. Ray is working out in the garage and filming himself at some point later. Elliot comes over and urges him to swim with him because he shouldn't be in the water alone. But Ray is too focused on getting his body in better shape. Instead, he draws a cheerful face on a coin and invites the boy to play their game of fetch. Elliot places the coin on a toy and plays with it in the water. At that point, coins start to fall, and Elliot thinks it's his dad, so he quickly comes back up. But there isn't anyone there. He then dives in to get the coin, but additional coins keep falling. He takes them all, and then looks up to see someone by the pool. He comes back again to find the backyard vacant. Elliot starts swimming again, and something hits the diving board hard, but when he looks, there's nothing there. At that moment, he hears a girl imploring the purifiers for aid. She says her name is Rebecca, and that she is Elliot's action figure. He reaches into the hole to get it, but it's stuck in hair. Then a frightening hand grabs his wrist. He fights for a while, but he finally gets free and finds a strange figure within the purifier. Elliot, who is scared, tells Eve what occurred, and she goes outside right once to look into it. But there is no one there, and the action figure is floating in the pool. Ray wonders if Elliot is just imagining things because he doesn't have any pals when he hears about what happened. Eve believes they should hold a pool party so that the family may get to know each other better. The whole family goes to cheer on Elliot during his baseball practice later. Ray gives everyone as much guidance as he can because they are all delighted to have a famous baseball star around. They finally talk him into joining the practice, and after some thought, he accepts. He fails on his first 2 efforts and even falls. Ray tries again, but Eve is frightened. He thinks of the pool and the vision he had on the first day this time. This gives him the strength to strike the ball so hard that it breaks the lights. Everyone on the team is impressed, but Elliot doesn't like that his dad is in charge of the game. Eve and Ray go out to eat that night. Izzy is in charge, so she invites Ronan over after threatening Elliot so he won't inform their parents. Ronan and Izzy are having a great time in the water when they decide to play Marco Polo. Izzy says Marco with her eyes closed, and Ronan plays a trick on her by exiting the pool. The radio goes off all of a sudden, and something frightening comes out of the water and whispers, "Polo." Izzy walks toward it, thinking it's Ronan, but just as she's about to capture it, it disappears. The creature suddenly shows up behind Izzy and shouts "Polo," but as she turns around, it is gone again. Izzy jumps in to chase Ronan, but she can't find him, and the pool doesn't seem to have a bottom. The thing grips her leg and tries to tug, but Izzy kicks both legs till she gets away. Then she sees a bright square above her and swims toward it swiftly as the lights start to flicker. She comes back up barely in time, and Ronan helps her. She is clearly scared as she tells Ronan what occurred, but he maintains she was there alone and only for a few seconds. Izzy's parents arrive back at that moment, so Ronan kisses her and then runs away. Later, Elliot tries to talk to Izzy about what happened to her because he wants to make sure he isn't dreaming things. Izzy won't say anything, though, because the pool is helping their dad, and she doesn't want to mess things up. She also says that no one will trust them regardless. A lot of people come to the party and have a good time. Izzy is still apprehensive, so she talks to her friends but doesn't get in the water. Elliot stays in his room and sets up a camera at the window to film everything. Eve asks Kay why the pool hasn't been used in so long when they are in the kitchen. Kay tries to avoid the issue at first, but in the end she tells Eve about a girl who died there. Eve remembers Elliot's story and wonders if her name was Rebecca. Kay is astonished that she recalls it. A kid wants Ray to autograph the ball he shattered the other day. Ray then asks the boy to join the activity in the pool, where few adults are carrying kids on their shoulders. The boy goes on Ray's shoulders and fights with them. They have to work hard, but they do win. But with each movement, Ray goes deeper and deeper into the sea. A black material suddenly bursts out of the sewer and enters Ray's mouth, where it quickly takes over his body. Ray keeps holding on to the youngster's legs and walking toward the deep end of the pool, even though the boy keeps pleading him to let him go. The toy boat then floats above them, and the boy starts to drown. Elliot sees this on the video and hurries to rescue his mom. At that moment, the boy's parents finally spot his hand waving in the water, and the father leaps in just in time to save him. Ray's firm grasp left marks on his legs. Ray is still at the bottom of the pool and has to be saved. Eve starts CPR on him because he isn't responding. The party is called off a few minutes later, and the police come to look into it. The boy's mother says that Ray wouldn't let go of him, so Eve tells her that Ray is sick and that he almost drowned too. The dad is also the baseball team's coach. He says he won't press charges, but he doesn't want Ray to come to practice anymore. Eve tries to say she's sorry, but the mother snaps and says she never wants Eve to be around her family again. Eve instructs the kids to get in the car and says they're leaving because she's had enough of this. She keeps saying that something is wrong with the pool, and Ray attempts to convince her that it's fantastic. She needs to remind him that a boy almost died. Ray gets in the car with them, and they all leave. Ray starts to cough and looks unwell after only a few seconds of driving. Eve stops the car when Ray's veins turn black, and he throws up a dark liquid. The family goes home right away and puts Ray to bed. Eve phones the doctor, who tells her to keep him resting until Tuesday, when he can come in for tests. Ray says he's sorry for almost drowning the youngster and keeps asking for one more swim, creepy expressing how cold it feels down there. Eve won't let him get out of bed, and she's so frightened that she lets the hose fall into the main water supply, which drains the pool. Then she goes to check on her kids and vows to keep them safe. Eve looks into the history of the house at work the next day. It turns out that every family that lived there lost someone. Eve, who is quite upset, calls Kay and asks for Rebecca's family's address. It's a really nice house, and when Eve meets Rebecca's mother, Lucy, she finds out that her son is an ambassador. Lucy starts to cough when Eve tells her everything that happened. She pours too much water into her glass since she's so scared. Lucy finally talks after Eve pushes her. She sheds black tears when she tells him that there was a spring on the ground before the house. People adored it because it could grant wishes. It was called Tamagami. Sadly, every request came with a price. Rebecca's brother heard her scream the night she drowned and tried to leave his room to help. But Lucy locked him up because the water was using her as a vessel to achieve her wish, to save Rebecca's life in exchange for curing her sick kid. Lucy advises Eve that love means giving up something, and she should let Ray get better. Eve thinks the notion is horrible and calls Lucy out, but Lucy starts to cough again. The hose on her oxygen tank starts to fill with black liquid, and soon the fountain in the room does too. Lucy starts talking in a scary voice, and her nose and eyes start to exude black slime. She says that the water will slumber again. Eve finally departs, scared. Ray is taking a shower at home when the thing takes over his body again because the water source is dirty. The black liquid also starts to ooze out of the pool's drain at the same moment. The kids call for their parents when they get home, but neither of them comes out. Izzy calls Eve, but she doesn't pick up, so Izzy goes to the garage. Elliot pours a glass with water from a wash basin and notices that it shakes. He hears a cat meowing, so he walks outside to look for it. The glass on the table then starts to move by itself. Elliot is astonished to find that the pool is full again in the backyard. Elliot crawls on the diving board to get to the floaty that is making the noise. A terrifying thing emerges on the floaty and pierces it with its nails to let the air out, which makes Elliot fall into the ocean. The handle keeps spinning to cover the pool, and the glass in the kitchen finally falls and breaks. Eve then comes and grips the handle, but it's too strong and knocks her back. She tries again, and this time Izzy runs to aid her. Together, they're able to stop it. Eve kicks the handle to shatter it, and then she leaps into the pool to hunt for Elliot. She can't find him, even after adjusting the floaty. She keeps swimming and notices a hole at the bottom of the pool that seems like a dark abyss. Eve comes back up and swiftly takes the hose. She then brings it into the water with her. She can now get some extra air and keeps swimming into the void. Izzy is back in the house looking for her dad when she slips on the water and falls on the glass fragments, wounding her hand. She hears a scary noise and goes to see what it is. Ray surprises her by showing up out of nowhere and claims he's been hunting for her. His feet are wet and his eyes are black. She looks down for a second and he is gone, so she tries to contact 911. Ray suddenly shows up next to her, knocks the phone out of her hands, and then hits her in the face. He believes that Elliot's life is too harsh, thus it's best to kill him. Izzy is scared and attempts to run away, but Ray grabs her by the hair and pulls a few strands out. This lets her keep running and hide in the garage. The TV turns on by itself and plays a video of Ray's best game, but then it goes to static. Ray yells at her, but then he leaves her there and shuts the door. Eve finally finds Elliot in the pool and snatches him so they can leave. But the souls of everyone who drowned in the pool are all around them, trying to stop them. Eve kicks them off after a fight and keeps going, but she can't find a way out. Rebecca then walks up and throws the coin with a cheerful face on it, which means they've been upside down the whole time. Eve can finally see the light and swim to the top. Elliot isn't responding, and as Eve attempts CPR, Ray comes up behind her and says it's too late. Ray holds Eve by the neck and informs her that the pool selected Elliot as she begs for aid. Izzy shows up with a bat at that moment, and Eve makes a signal to get her to attack. Izzy smacks Ray in the knees to make him collapse, then she hits him a few times on the back, which makes him throw up a little black liquid. Izzy punches him in the stomach again, and this time he sees many crucial moments from his life. Ray finally vomits up all the black gunk and is back to normal as he hears his wife and daughter call for him. The dark liquid seeps out of the pool drain again when Elliot wakes up. Ray knows that the pool won't stop until it gets its sacrifice, so he dives in and swims toward the edge. Elliot soon throws up all the odd liquid in him, and the pool's blackness goes away, taking Ray with it. Elliot views a video of Ray talking to his family about how much they mean to him a little while later. Eve gives him back the coin with a smiley face and thinks about selling the house, but the siblings say that would happen to someone else, and Ray wouldn't want that. Instead, they decide to fill the pool with soil and dwell there to keep people from dying. To see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe, like, share, and enable notifications. Thank you for watching.